Good evening, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants Radio. I'm Ryan Morris, and tonight I'm hosting and filling in for Melissa Ross. She's not feeling great, so
Aw.
here we are. The gang of four are going to attack this bad boy. Return to Wellness is the name of this show. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, go find us. Wake Up with Giants TV. Hit the subscribe, hit the alerts. You know when we go live every single dang time. It's broadcasting out to Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. What else, Nick?
Facebook twice.
It would be in MySpace if it still existed, but it's not there.
I think you said today farmers only.
Yeah, this morning I said farmers
think it's
only,
on
but
there?
that was a different site. You're welcome, farmers only, and all the daters on there.
Are loving this.
We've got Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls. We've got the Wellness Witch, the host of Purple Door. What is it? Magic? What is it on Monday?
It's Beyond the Purple Door.
Beyond the Purple Door on Monday. She has Purple Door coaching. She is the Wellness Witch. She has fixed a lot of my stuff. Because I have a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on with all of this, as you can tell. Needs a lot of fixing and maintenance.
It's true.
To maintain this PFC body. You're welcome.
This PFC body.
I love you guys so much.
you exactly have the PFC body, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
God.
Nobody even dares comment right now. They're like, we don't even know what to say.
It goes from fit to rad dad to PFC.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
All good. I don't know which one.
My Jen Walter beads with me just to give me a little confidence.
Or do I need to get
The
cape?
world's greatest courage coach taught me this
you have a
move.
No, I have a cloak. I don't have a cape. I have a cloak.
That sounds fabulous.
Can we sell giant cloaks?
Ooh.
One thing that I don't know if we can get away with this. Hopefully we can.
Ryan Morris.
Hold, please.
Oh, Ryan. What up, cuz? I love you.
All right. So
Yes.
Gam Gam,
Which?
before we dive in.
Which one? Which witch?
I'm
I'm hungry.
So
Sandwich.
if we're looking at what Gam Gam is promoting, we'll get to that actually. I'm
Hey,
going to hit a
Facebook
button
user.
for you. But Gam Gam, if you want to dive in, let's dive into the conversation. We'll let you learn how to return to wellness because we're so far off track in the conversation.
That's what I'm good at.
Now we'll get back to wellness.
Yeah, Nick will bring it all the way around. That's why we invite Nick to the show. Because
Somebody
it's the three of
really-
us.
Like, forget it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forget it.
There's a huge
Fabulously
giant.
flawed father.
Yeah.
There you go.
White
White
chest.
chest.
Yeah, it messed up my lighting this morning. Like it went like my camera didn't know what to do with the reflection of it all. Yeah, right.
Amber
Poor
knows us way too well.
Sorry, buddy. All right. Well, let's dive in, Gam Gam. Does that sound like
Okay.
a plan?
Let me think.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to introduce yourself to because there are maybe like one or two people on the planet that don't know who my adopted Gam Gam. I'm her fourth grandson.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, by adoption and by
adoption.
Yeah, I
Not
don't think
her
it's
choice.
legal. But no,
Yeah.
she didn't have any choice.
No, yeah, but I was like,
backward.
hello. Of course,
Yeah.
of course, I want to be your Gam Gam.
And,
Like, who
so-
wouldn't want to be your Gam Gam?
You're the best. I love you so much.
It's true.
So much.
It's true.
Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Okay,
what you're
well, I'm
doing, your
Gam
favorite
Gam.
color, those kinds of things.
I wearing my Giants t-shirt.
Yes.
This is my favorite color. Giants.
Giants.
Be a giant.
Is that light blue.
Let's see. I am Nadine Larder, also known as Gam Gam. People know me from the Gam Gam's kitchen, where I'm teaching people how to get their health in order. Because I used to look like this. I used to look like this. And now I don't look like that. I look like
And
used to look
now,
like this. And now I look like this.
but you know what's beautiful about that whole thing?
Oh,
You're the same amazing Gam Gam in both
Yes.
pictures.
yes. The thing that's really important to me when I do show that picture, it's very important to me for people to know that I absolutely love this version of myself. That is what's really important about the journey to wellness is maybe that's a good place to start. I love what was the rest of what Hugh said? I missed
I
part
did
of
that
it,
fast.
okay,
Sorry.
so I
It was
love you and the
trigger
death of it.
finger.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I am a child of God. So that might be a good place to start this whole return to wellness thing is
Let's do it.
you know, as a society, we teach as a society that if you are not thin, if you are not whatever people see on social media, if you don't match the pictures that are airbrushed in the magazines, that you're not worthy of love, that you just don't stack up and you're not worthy of love if your body is not a certain perfection. And what exactly is that anyway? Like, what is a perfect body? What does that look like? And so the journey to wellness had to start with loving this version of myself exactly as I was. That is the important part. And it's like I say frequently when I'm, working with clients, when, I'm making TikTok videos, whatever it is
Gam Gam's
this
on TikTok.
Gam Gam
How many
is
followers do you have on
think
TikTok,
so.
Gam Gam? Because I want to brag on my Gam Gam.
only 85,000.
Only.
It's only gone up 5,000 since
And how many views?
A couple million.
Oh, geez. A lot.
What can I say? Just a little bit. I am a little bit kind of TikTok famous, just a little bit. But the thing that I, keep reiterating is the size of your body does not determine your worthiness of being loved
Hi, Paula. Love you.
by you. By you.
I keep seeing the movie Elf in my mind every time Ryan is like, I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you.
Spot on. Yes, acceptable as you are. So it's that whole thing of I was taught at a very young age that I was not worthy of love because my body wasn't a certain size. Like, what the hell is up with that?
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolutely no friggin' sense when you think about it. And so I had to get clear on the fact that I am worthy of loving myself, even when I am 80 pounds heavier than I am now. And that in order to heal, I had to love that version of myself, this version of myself, which is backwards. Sorry. So I had to love this version of myself in order to become this version of myself.
Is there a distinction between wellness and health like that you would create?
For me, the reason I use the term wellness is because I don't ever want people to have the impression that I think dieting is a good idea, because it's not.
Yeah.
I do not support dieting. I think dieting is, I know for a fact, UC Berkeley did research. They have studies, 95% fail rate.
Mm-hmm.
Dieting starts with the word die. And so I do use the word.
I have a joke, but I won't tell it.
Oh, I was gonna say, what is it?
It's inappropriate.
Oh, it's more of a illustration.
Tell it offline about dieting.
So, I use the term wellness because I don't want to indicate that we're focused on dieting. We're focused on wellness, being healthy, making healthy choices. And so for me, wellness is like, I guess, all encompassing.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know that I have a different, I can't say that word very well.
It's like where you feel satisfied or satiated or good in every area of your life, right? Like,
yeah.
A version. That's a version.
Like holistic, mind, body, soul. Yeah.
Yeah. And and you got to work on the mind. That's the thing I find interesting is when you start really talking to people, and I mean, Nicole may find the same, when you start really digging in and talking to people about their wellness struggles, their weight struggles, their, workout struggles, whatever it is, their wellness. what often comes out of their mouth first is, I just need to work out. If I just could work out, I just need to work out. No, you don't need to work out. I mean, working out is good. I'm not saying don't work out, but it's not the end all be all. It's the food. It is the food.
You know what is interesting in that too, Gam Gam, because this applies not just to food and size and things like that too. It's kind of like the whole mental thing about happiness is like, if I had this much money then, if I had this car then, if I only grew up on this side of town then, if my parents were this, then of course I'd be that. That's
Bingo.
That's the distinction, right, that you're talking about.
It really is. If I was only 10 pounds lighter, then everything would be fine. If I could only stop gaining weight, then it would all be good. If I could only. And it's like, we got to stop that if I could only nonsense. And, the other thing that, what I was going to say, gosh, dang it, I lost it. I have lost it twice, this thought now. The other thing that I see all the time. Oh, people don't want to talk about the mind. I find it so fascinating. So let's just say that I am releasing 2 programs at the same time. Okay. Because I've done this. So I have 2 programs that I might release at the same time. One is called Awaken. The other one is called Fulfilled. For me, in my mind, Awaken comes before Fulfilled. Awaken is about getting your mind right. You got to have the right soil to plant the garden in, right? You got to have the right mindset. And so when I release these programs, I'm like, okay, first we'll do Awaken. And then after we do Awaken, we'll do Fulfilled, which is the food. Fulfilled is where I teach people how to eat foods they've never eaten before, how to have the most fulfilling. I mean, you guys ate my food. I make good food.
So good. So good.
And so how to eat really, really delicious food that is so satiating that you are always fulfilled. And, Ryan, you eat like I eat, and the weight, I assume, melted off, just like it melted off for me. But I had to have the right mindset.
It's a keto, like ours is a keto lifestyle, because that works for our body. But there's tons of different ways to figure out what works for your body. And Nicole could speak on that, because she's the wellness witch. She's amazing.
Yes, she is. But do you find that as well, Nicole? So when you are working with people, thank you.
See,
thank you, ladies.
5 out of 5 say yes.
5 out of 5.
And we want to come over right now for dinner.
Yes, you can come over for dinner. Yes. Do you find when you are working with people that they put the workout first, the food, and then the mind, and they get it? It's like, first you got to work on the mind.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think people are afraid of me because they see me work out. So they think it's going to be like militant exercise. And that's not we don't even go into movement and exercise until we have started the journey of clearing out the space. You have to get rid of the old energy to bring in the new energy, to set up the environment, because your environment is so essential to your success. And so it's like the small steps along the way. I usually have clients that will lose up to 35 pounds before we start to work out.
Just on mindset?
On the food. Yeah. And then I just do little swaps with people. So we're going to start small, little steps, 3 items this week that you're going to take from your kitchen. So instead of using a white potato, you're going to move to a sweet potato. Instead of using pasta, you're going to go to a protein pasta.
What if you hate salad?
That's fine.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to.
Everyone's body is different and unique.
What can you do for salad substitution?
Well, I think you could be certain that you're not a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We eliminated that. So
Yes.
Love yourself that you're not that.
But some people,
Thank goodness.
Hungry caterpillar, right? The book.
yeah. And with some people, it is like meat. And that's what their body works better with eating meat. I don't eat meat, but for people that do, that's what their body, it works best for their unique body. And so it's like being a scientist. You're trying to figure out what works best for your unique body, which means I can't come to you and be like, eat just salads. Because your body is we're discovering this together. We're learning this together.
Yes, exactly.
Pea soup
Pea soup.
instead of salad. Yeah.
So instead of having it in a can, you would have
Yeah.
Gam Gam create you a wonderful recipe.
Right.
For pea soup.
Ooh, I love that. I really do
I love
so enjoy like trying to make new
How to not have very many friends. Eat pea soup all the
pea
time.
soup.
Nobody will want to be in the same room with you.
I can honestly tell you that I have tasted pea soup. I hate pea soup, and so I don't know about the impact of pea soup.
I love what you just shared, Nicole, on small steps, like simple
That's
things.
key.
3 things, simple things, expansion in some degree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you make it fun. So I'm addicted to cheese. I love cheese, right? It's so good. But my son, like in our family, like I was excited about Harmon's coming into my neighborhood for the cheese counter. But my son and I decided instead of cheese, we were going to choose an exotic fruit every time we go to the grocery store instead of picking a cheese. So it made it just as fun because we're experiencing something new and different, but it's on a little bit of the healthier side.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tana, me too. I have an addiction to cheese.
I am so. My husband calls me a rodent.
McCheese.
He does. Tom calls me a rodent because he'll walk by the kitchen and I have this container of nuts. I used to, snack on Wheat Thins and Cheez-Its, my drug of choice.
Mhm.
And now I have a container of nuts that has some, almonds and I have almonds and
pistachios. I think you had pistachios at your house. The snack food was on point. It was like cheese, meats, and nuts. It was
Huge part.
fabulous. So good.
yes,
Massive part.
It's a big part of my keto diet. I don't know about
have
others.
to, like on a keto diet. You just got to get the fats in. So, the meats and
eat what feels right. And so it's like when I'm snacking on nuts and cheese, and Tom will walk by and he's like, there is my rodent wife. My wife, the rodent. She's rodent.
You like move your nose, you're like
yesterday, Christian asked me if I'm like but
only the front teeth.
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
making
and
people
Lori
hungry.
I want some cheese too, actually.
With keto,
Tillamook.
if cheese is a big part of a keto diet, and from the people that I know that do keto, yes, cheese is a big part of it.
Yes, it is. It's a big part. I mean, it's a big part for me, and a lot of people, because they know, they'll ask that, and the question I get all the time, and it's just propaganda, is, but that's gonna just do terrible things to your cholesterol. It's like, let me give you a news flash. Eating cholesterol does not cause high cholesterol. Eating sugar and all that processed food is what causes high cholesterol. Get rid of the sugar, get rid of the highly processed food, and your cholesterol will correct itself.
So, like,
it's not cheese. That's
chips,
good.
crackers.
Isn't that amazing? I think it's amazing that the body knows how to regulate.
Pizza.
That when you start feeding it what it needs, it knows what to do with it.
Pasta.
You don't have to think about how your liver is going to operate. You don't have to think about your kidneys or anything else. It just does it, right?
It just does it.
Yeah.
And the whole, the thing that people don't realize about cholesterol is the cholesterol is the cement repair truck that's in your veins. And it's like, cholesterol is just repairing all the damage that the sugar and the highly processed foods and all that inflammation is doing. And when you start looking at the research and you really read into the research, you learn that more than 50% of people who die of heart disease do not have high cholesterol. And when you really start digging into it, what they find is that people with high cholesterol live longer.
Bacon.
Like, God.
Everything's better with bacon. That's what drew me into keto at the beginning. I was like, "Hi, hello there."
Bacon. I actually don't.
Hello there, bacon. Kevin.
For bacon.
Coach Steve Bacon. That's a good.
I saw Gam Gam's
That's
face on
delicious,
the
too.
back screen here, like, the hell was that? But, sorry, we won't do that very often. I'm professional. Really
That's
inappropriate.
our shout out. Are we
Yeah.
doing a coach? Because we talked about bacon. Should we do a Steve Bacon? He's delicious too.
I love bacon. It's
Well,
fabulous.
and I don't eat bacon, but one of my favorite breweries in Utah makes a beer that tastes like bacon.
Ooh. Is
It's
it good?
amazing.
Here's Steve
That's
Bacon.
perfect.
Bacon
So-
beer.
Solutions everywhere.
Chocolate covered bacon.
Yeah.
If it was
I have heard
if it
about
was
that.
low sugar, like a dark chocolate, then I could down that.
I can do it. I can.
Bacon
Gam
is the
Gam got
bomb.
you.
Yeah.
Gam Gam has got you.
Let's create it.
Some
By
sugar.
we, I mean you. You should create that.
You know what she is good at?
Great TikTok video. How
Yeah.
to make chocolate covered bacon.
Yeah.
Gam Gam. If you want to create something, if this just became a new creation, 5,000 Things journal,
5,000 things. Journal.
manifesting, and so it is. She
Right.
made this in like 7 seconds. Nick came up with an idea from a happy pocket full of money, and all of a sudden it's on Amazon.
How powerful Nadine is.
Yeah, Nadine is amazing.
What can I say?
So there's beauty in that too. Like you're talking about creation, right? You create your body, you create wellness, you create all this stuff. But there's a point where you stop thinking about things so much.
Mhm.
Like you take it from out of this ethereal place and you start bringing it into reality, and then you start learning how to do that quicker and quicker. And so at first, when you're looking at your body, before you loved your body, right? Was there a point that you didn't?
Mhm.
You just cannot even you would seriously, you would cry with me if you heard the things that I said to myself. Like it would hurt your feelings.
Yeah,
to know the things that I said to myself.
I'd imagine people say that about all kinds of, not just body, but finances, relationships, spirituality, like all these things that we judge ourselves for, right?
Judge. And what does it do for us? What does the judgment do? What does the self-hate do?
Yeah, go.
Materializes.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, speaking of materializing, it's good Steve Bacon.
Hey,
We were
Steve
talking about
Bacon.
bacon, and then it came to my mind. Me and you had messaged, and tagged each other. See, yep, saw my name tagged because I had to, because we were talking
'Cause I
about
had
bacon
Bacon.
and delicious things, and then boom, delicious thing popped up on our screen.
Do you love me some bacon? I
Yeah.
had bacon today. I
Delicious.
don't really eat that much bacon because people think that Ryan and I are just eating steak and bacon and cheese and eggs, that's all we eat.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes that's all I eat.
and
It's so good.
it is good, but it's like I eat bacon like, I don't know, once or twice a month.
I went to the store and I bought like 45 pounds of bacon,
That is
and it filled up like the whole freezer. And then I have like bacon cook-a-thons.
Yeah.
My whole house, like I just get over in one night, and then I have bacon for like 2 weeks straight.
okay. I'm definitely coming to your house for dinner.
It's pretty awesome. Then I just put it in everything keto. So if I'm making like I don't know, like an Alfredo chicken something
Yum.
or other surprise, cheese
Yum.
surprise, because that's what I call it, because I just add whatever looks good that's on keto. I'll just toss in some bacon because it just makes everything better.
It does. It just
Right?
does. It does. Right.
Yeah, he does. That's
Yeah.
what he do.
Bacon does
So,
make everything
Returning to wellness. I love the title because it just
Yes.
keeps bringing us back. So when
Yes.
you hated yourself, when you hated on yourself, and people do it with different things, like, can you talk about acceptance? So the judgments, you were talking about judgments, right? And how we do that. And then it manifests.
It does. It materializes. And I think
Yep.
that, so it's like, I like to, bring that home because, we've all read the book on being the ultimate coach. We all subscribe to that. Those of us here, I can't speak for the people out in cyberspace, but I know the four of us do.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people out there in cyberspace who are watching too. And so it's, I learned that I was fat. I learned that I was fat when I was about 7. And I spent my entire life looking in the mirror going, you're fat. God, you're so fat. God, and I had anorexia. I mean, like, this has been going on for a long time. And when I was about 16, I lost 30 pounds in 1 month because I literally just stopped eating. Like, I had anorexia. I just stopped eating and just quit. And I was getting like weak and sick and sickly. And I was down to 97 pounds. 97 pounds is what I weighed. And I look in the mirror and go, you're fat. You're so fat. And so what happens when the line in the book that just smacked me, stood out from AJ Richards was, and I'm not going to quote it.
AJ. I'm gonna tag him here.
There's a line in the book where he talks about that he wanted to start doing affirmations and declarations with people. And he's talking to Steve and he said, he recognized that people who are fat do what fat people do. And it was, I'm butchering the line. It's not perfect quote. And that's my weight. Yes, you are tiny. And so when I read that line, I thought to myself,
tiny giant.
Yes, she is. I thought to myself, it materialized. I wasn't even fat. I was not fat, but I kept telling myself every day, you're fat. You are fat. You are fat. You're disgusting. Your body is disgusting. You like, get it together. You're a loser. What is wrong with you? Like, the things that I would say to myself are so unkind and so mean. I would never talk to anybody that way, but I was comfortable talking to myself that way. And it materialized. It materialized because I did what fat people do so that I would become fat. And I'm not using the word fat as like judgmental. And those are the words I use when I talk to myself. And now when I'm talking, I usually try to use the word obese or overweight because that is the medical technical term. And it feels less judgmental than the word fat, but that is how I talk to myself. And it's like, this is what happened. It materialized. I was doing what fat people do.
Yeah.
I told myself every day that I was. And when I stopped telling myself every day that I was fat and I started loving this person, I don't associate with this person anymore. That's why I say this person, because this is not me anymore. But when I stopped looking in the mirror every day and going, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're disgusting. God, get it together. What is wrong with you? You're a loser. Jesus, like, mean. I stopped materializing. I started materializing something different. And so when you love yourself, when you take the choice and you make the choice to love yourself exactly as you are, because I don't care what condition your life is in, you deserve love. It does not matter. You deserve love, period.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
So people that don't do things ask how. People that get things done ask what, right? As a distinction, there seems to be this creation that comes from the word what, and how is just curiosity mostly. It's like, well, how did you do it? But then there's no activity around it. And there was a transition between hating yourself and loving yourself.
Yes.
And one could ask, how did you do that? And then there would be no movement around it, right? But what was it in your life? This is my curiosity. What was it that created that transition? What did you do? What occurred? What woke you up?
So, pardon me. When in 2018, my Madison and Mackenzie, who you guys both met, Madison was graduating from high school and Mackenzie was graduating from 8th grade. I was deathly ill and was in bed for the first 6 months of that entire year. And so I was sick and I'm sure I gained more weight because I was in bed. It was the darkest time of my life. And so do the graduation, go to take the pictures, do all that stuff. And I'm flipping through my phone going, oh, let me post pictures of the kids. Let me just post these pictures. And I saw myself. And I was disgusted. I was disgusted. I had gotten so big that I could not even be present with the fact that my daughters just graduated, because I'm looking at the pictures, and I know you ladies out there, I know I'm not alone in this. I know you ladies, I can't speak for the guys, but I know that you ladies, some of you, not all of you look at your picture and you rip yourself apart. Stop it. Just stop it. You don't need to do that. It's not necessary. And I'm
Guys
looking
do
at,
it too.
okay, and I, it's like, I know for women that we're like, oh, I got this little pouch, it's like we just pick ourselves apart. And so I'm looking at these pictures, picking myself apart. And then I see myself in the mirror and I'm like, I give up. I give. White flag. I just give up. I am so tired of hating myself. I am so tired of criticizing myself. I am so tired of condemning myself. I give up because I am going to be fat for the rest of my life. And seeing as I'm going to be fat for the rest of my life, I might as well just learn to accept. Nadine, you are fat. Get the F over it. Get over it. This is who you are. You're fat. So you might as well learn to love yourself as a fat person.
It's interesting how like we have our own thoughts, and those are brutal. Those are super brutal. Like we're our worst critic. But then you've also got the media, and you've got other people, and you've got, bullies and naysayers and all this stuff. And you start to believe it, and it's not true.
It's not
true. It's not true at all. That's
It's
not
just a
who you
story.
are.
No.
Yeah.
It's just a story. And the other thing is we, and when I say we, I guess me, is we associate that we are our body. And I am no more my body than I am my hand. And I think that when you explain it like that, like, this is not me. This hand is not me. It's not.
Oh, there you are. Gam Gam.
Right. And neither is the rest of my body.
Yeah.
The rest of my body is not me either. It's just my body.
Yeah.
And, people who love themselves do not abuse themselves with food. And when you think about fat people do what fat people, if fat people do what fat people do. Okay. And one of the things that people who are fat do, and I know this because I did it, is we shut our body down. I'm not interested in what you have to say. I don't want to hear from you, body. Shut up. I am not interested in what you have to say. And with that, we're shoving the food down. We're literally forcing food. I forced food into my body that my body didn't even want. When I'm full, think about how many times, hi, Alex. Think of how many times, it's like Thanksgiving. You're at Thanksgiving dinner, you're eating, you're enjoying the food. You keep shoving the food in. You are no longer hungry. You just keep shoving it in, and then you feel like crap because you kept shoving the food in. Now imagine you're doing that every day. Every day's like Thanksgiving, and you're just shoving the food in, and you're telling your body to shut up. Not interested in what you have to say, body. Too bad. And it just materializes, and it just becomes a mess.
We do that with all kinds of things, though. It's, we do it with food, we do it with drugs, we do it with alcohol, we do it with games, we do it with work, we do it, anything to numb, anything to keep us from having to feel those feelings or think those thoughts, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's it's like everybody has their different food trigger. Like, I shouldn't say everybody has their own food trigger. People with food issues have food triggers. My food trigger is boredom. If I am bored, there's no reason for me to feed my body. My body isn't hungry. I'm bored. And instead of addressing the boredom, I'm numbing it with food.
And that could go
And,
with being sad, lonely, depressed, angry, fearful, whatever.
exactly. Exactly. And that's why the other journal, this one that I made,
Grab a pen.
instead. I always get it backwards because I'm backwards. So grab a pen instead. This journal is a wellness journal. And this journal is about stepping yourself through that process. It's grabbing a pen instead of numbing. It's about grabbing a pen and processing through whatever it is you're going through instead of shoving food down that your body doesn't even want. And, shut up. And eventually you shut your body up enough and your body goes, oh yeah. You want to listen? You don't want to listen to me?
Boop, boop, boop. Right. It'll manifest somewhere,
you.
right?
I'll show you. And then you end up sick in bed for 6 months.
Yeah, your body always has a positive intention for you. So it's always doing everything it can to keep you alive.
Yes.
Always.
And it resets, just like Nick said. It's like it knows what to do. And the inflammation and all that stuff that goes on. Are you having fun?
Yeah, sorry.
It's the body is like, hello.
This works for everything though, right? Like this is just, if you pay attention, if you're hearing this as an eating show or a food show, you're not hearing the whole message.
Yeah.
It's wellness, it's mindset, it's all the things. This could transform your business, this could transform your personal life, your relationships, you name it. This could change everything for you just if you listen to what Nadine is talking about. So that you at home that are falling asleep, like just ate a little too much. The meat sweats.
Falling asleep on the show.
Wake up. That's our purpose, is to help you wake up.
Well, and when it wasn't, it's been work for me when it wasn't. Like I've struggled with anorexia before in my life, but when it wasn't food, it was work. So I was overworking myself to the point that I would make myself sick. So it does apply to every aspect of your life, not just with food. Because if you work too much you can apply it to anything in your life.
Yeah.
I see the journeys in it. I see like the unconsciousness, because when you're numbing out, you're in an unconscious state, you're automated, you're grabbing food, you're working hard, like all this stuff that we do unconsciously, it's all automated. And then you have the awakening to it and you're like, holy shit.
Yes.
This is my reality, right? And people go right into that grief stage of the journeys where they just really get down and depressed and anxious and all this stuff. And the moment that your life shifts is when you accept all of it. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is.
Yeah. This is what you created. You're in debt. You're overweight. Your relationships are ruined. Whatever it is, like, you created that. Until you wake up to that and accept that's what it is, there's no change, right?
No. Well, and you and I have in common, Nick, where
DNA, ancestry.
No, I am your Gam Gam, but I'm pretty sure that
Ryan.
you haven't checked
Ryan.
But you and I both have in common that we were in line at the food bank. You and I have in common, and so it's like what Ryan said. It's like, if you're hearing that this is only about food, it ain't about food. It's about here. And when in 2009, when I was in line at the food bank, I was $1.3 million in debt. And I had no income. My husband and I were in the mortgage business, the mortgage meltdown. We were all there. We know about that. And when the ship sunk, we were both on it. There was no income. And it's not like I could pass out resumes. Like, I've been self-employed since 1996. Who the hell's going to hire me?
I would have.
I think so. It's like, so Tom and I, we had $1.3 million in debt. What are we going to do? And it all started crumbling. And we're in line. I'm in line at the food bank, and I'm with somebody else who was I'm not going to say that person's name because maybe they don't want that part of their story told. I tell all my stories. And so I'm in line at the food bank and I'm there with this other person and I'm looking at her and I go, this is going to be the most amazing story one day. I said, this is going to be the most amazing comeback story one day.
It's kind of funny now, like when you talk about it and think about it, like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that's where it was. At the time, neck deep, like
it was pretty overwhelming.
Yeah. It is.
I can imagine.
A lot of emotions, right? Like shame, guilt, a little bit of guilt that you're even there. Like other people, I shouldn't be here. Other people should be here, not me.
How did this happen?
It's humbling. Like
it's bad.
Nick, you're not so great, bro. That's right. It's humbling. It's like, wow, man, you're as human as anybody else.
Makes you take a deep, hard look at who you're being, right? And what's happening in your life. And that also brings up, though, I'm sure, because I've been there and done similar stuff, is worthiness, self-esteem, like your failure.
Worst
look at
is you think you're awake, like you're sleepwalking and you think you're awake. And you're out there acting all the things, but you're not awake. You're still doing the old stuff. You're still creating the same life. You're still being the same person. And there's no change because you're sleepwalking. You're not conscious. And it takes another event sometimes to really like slap you in the face. Like you looking at the photos, it's like, wake up. When are you going to wake up?
Just like when you're in line at the food bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, how the hell did I end up here? Like, how the hell did I end up here? I was making enough money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, to be $1.3 million in debt. Like, it wasn't that I just racked up all that debt and didn't qualify for it. I made plenty of money to qualify for that debt. It then all crash and burn. And, it's then you got to dig yourself out. And I know you dug yourself out, Nick. I dug myself out. I had to make serious changes. I had to reevaluate. And it's the same thing. It's just this reinvention of yourself. You have to reinvent yourself because what you're doing ain't working. Right?
If somebody had that perspective shift and, somebody could, be like mad and depressed and sad and all this stuff. If I could go back and somebody could say, you got a choice right here. Look how cool this is. Like you get to start over. I mean, how freaking cool is that? How do you want to be from now on?
Right.
Like that feels way better than
doom,
oh my gosh, doom,
what's going to happen?
Imagine this though. Like somebody comes along, Ryan, they hand you the keys to the kingdom and you don't know how to be that. Mm-hmm. So you have all the how-tos and you have no way of being that would even support what they just handed you.
Yeah.
It's like a lottery winner. It would be one of those things like, here you go.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
You got to do the work.
Dang it, Nick. You took away my excitement about like,
it was a good thought.
Like, rubbing the lamp and getting the magic genie.
Gosh dang it, I'm sorry, man.
It could happen. You could win the lottery.
Well, when you were talking about habits, Nick.
Yeah.
And how it's just mindless.
You can have your seat back, I guess. I'm sorry. Here you go.
It's like you said Santa Claus didn't exist or something.
Yeah.
Crushed my dreams.
About every 4 to 6 weeks, I go to California and I stay at my daughter's house for about a week, with the grandkids and yada yada, right? So I am not in my environment for a week, and not in my environment.
Yeah,
I'm in her environment. And what I notice is when I am not in my environment, my habits completely shift. There's no, like, one of my challenges with food that I'm constantly working on and just growing and just getting better at is grazing. Like I will go, it's the boredom. So boredom comes up. I'm like, oh, gee, where's that nut mix? Can be some cheese. And I'm in the kitchen. Before I know it, I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the God blessed kitchen. But when I'm at my daughter's house, that same thing can happen. However, I don't go in the kitchen because it's not, I have to think about it. It's not mindless. You guys are hilarious.
I've got a thought though, because you hit on something. When you're in one
Maybe high.
environment, you're one
Hilarious.
person, and in another, you're another. I had a client, and she was a therapist for her whole life. And I said, I think my mom has multiple personalities. And she went off in a good way. This lady did. And she says, how magical, how amazing is the mind that it has the ability to create multiple personalities for survival, right?
That is exactly what it is too, for survival.
And that we create ourselves different depending on the environment for that environment. Like it's another personality. We show up as a different human. It's mind-blowing. Sometimes there's a lot of suffering that occurs in that because you don't know who you're working with. Right. But we do that. Like you say, you go to one house and you're this way, and you come to another house, you're another way.
Yeah, and it's not that I'm like trying to be this or that. It's just the different environment creates a different being, a different way of being.
Nicole, you look like you have some thoughts around that. Like,
do tell, Nicole.
No, I just agree. I agree. Oh my gosh.
Hello, Nicole.
Wow, that was amazing, Nick. That was unbelievable. Do you remember where you were?
Take it to the next level.
Who'd we shout out?
This is Nicole Castillo. She is a wealth of knowledge.
All right, ready, go.
Go.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember where your
She
thought
closed.
was?
She just ends.
No, the idea of multiple personalities, right? Depending on your environment, who you be changes, right?
Yeah. And I think that and that's something to take note of. Grab a pen. Who are you being when you're at your daughter's house, and who are you being when you're in your own home?
Mindless. That's what I'm being. Mindless.
Wasn't there a movie like where he would leave himself notes because he would lose his memory every day, and then he'd come back and read the notes and connect the dots and leave more notes.
It's like
and then
50 First Dates with Adam Sandler.
50 First Dates is the one that I remember. That's
a good one too.
I love that movie.
The thought that came to mind is like until you start journaling or writing down, you really don't even see the unconscious things. Like you start saying, I'm this person over here, and then you write it over here. It's like you start to see the evidence that, wow, you're showing up really out of alignment here.
Yeah, that's why the declarations are stating and recreating who you are every day. It's like, I know with 1,000,000% certainty I will never be obese again, ever. I will never be obese again. What is funny about that, Ryan?
This part was the funny part. She was like, "What was that? Like the spotlight, the rotation, all that stuff." I'm assuming.
This is the most unprofessional show I've ever been on. What is this?
Who are these people?
Would we have it any other way? Come on.
No. This is so perfect.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
Because we're learning, we're having fun.
That's damn right.
This is what happens when we go to Gam Gams, though.
Yeah, it is.
Just a ball of freaking fun.
Last time it was me, Nick, and Gam Gam, or me, Ryan, and Gam Gam on the show, and it was just like we're like, who left us unattended?
No
Nick
adult supervision.
Yeah, not good, guys. Not good.
Maybe the only adult, and yeah, that's. I love how much
different
fun.
Show, just different.
Yeah. So Nicole, what were you saying about the whole
mind thing, right?
The mind thing.
I'm finishing your sentences. It's like we're dating or something.
Oh my gosh.
She doesn't like
he does it to me too, and it's weird.
She doesn't like tomatoes. Dating. Yeah, please don't give her tomatoes.
No tomatoes. Got it.
Yeah. Anyway. Confused. Oh no. I'm so confused right now.
You know what though? I hear.
I'm not, because we're going to pull it back in to return to wellness.
I was going to return to wellness.
Oh, Ryan, you return us to wellness.
Okay, well, I'm going to return to wellness, but this goes in. This goes in. Yeah. It goes into consciousness. I'm going to talk about consciousness for just a second, because as you become aware of what you're doing, how you're being, if like I would grab a a box of Wheat Thins. We're gonna go with Wheat Thins because they're not good for you. What? Wheat Thins are not good for you,
Where?
and you start eating them.
Cool.
What way? You just start putting them in your mouth,
When?
and then when? What?
When?
Who? And then you start just going to town, and then pretty soon you reach in and it's the bottom.
That's
Like,
right.
what the heck? How did that? Like, who
And
ate
it's
all the Wheat Thins?
mindless,
You're yelling at the kids, and it's just
unconscious.
The worst is when you get in there and it's like, wow, that one was wet.
Wow.
Wet.
You're reminding me. My son was in cooking. He did cooking classes when he was in high school. And when the teacher introduced the whisk, I heard whisk every day for like, mom, did you need the whisk?
Yeah, this is gonna happen. You're welcome, everybody.
You're welcome.
It's like getting the song like stuck in your head, like, this is the song that never ends. It goes on and on, my friend. Remember that?
No, but now I do.
don't know that.
People started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that never ends.
You know what? I'm going to end that song. Let's end that song. I hate it. Done.
I don't know that song.
I'm going to mute you in a minute.
See?
Now, here's the beauty is like,
forgot about
as much as we joke around, I watched Ryan's transformation when he lost, was it 65 pounds? 67 pounds. The guy
I found a couple more though.
He was conscious about everything he put into his body. Like,
It's true.
I won't pause there.
But I
The
can do
food.
that. Like, I can go back now and just, if I decide, hey, I'm eating a little bit of sugar, go back to some carbohydrates for the day. It's not hard for me to go right back into my mindset.
Oh, that's good. A lot of people, it's just a relapse. That's what I call it. It's just a relapse. It's because sugar's a drug. It's a drug. Now, Ryan, what was the magic moment for you that made you go, I gotta change this?
I hit the highest weight that I had ever hit. I was tired of being tired. I was tired of being out of breath tying my shoe.
Right?
You know, like not being able to bend over, and now I'm just old. I can't bend over and tie my shoe, but I just
bend over to pick up the dog bowls to feed the dog, bending over to pick up the
all
dog
the
bowls.
stuff, not feeling good, like eating something and feeling not just being heavy, but feeling heavy and feeling like just tired and depressed, and it was not a good feeling. Finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had some long talks with my wellness coach, Purple Door Coaching, and the wellness, which we went over mindset. We talked about what is Ryan doing for Ryan. Ryan needs to love Ryan. We found that little Ryan needed to be loved and forgiven. That I had some mindset and some ways of being before that were protecting me, but they were no longer working for me. And we had to up level into a new way of being. And I'm still not perfect at it, and it's okay.
It is.
But I learned to love me and take time for me. And this was one thing that I was like, this is for me 100%. This is
because you numb out with, or used to, I don't know. I mean, I just watched that one episode where you talked about like you just work, serve, and that was your way of like numbing out, right?
Yeah. Well, avoiding those things. This is an avoidance.
Yeah.
And I could do that through work and staying busy.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting though, that like the pivot point for both of you that I hear as a common story is you had a reality check, both of you. You had a reality check, and this is the point where you either numb or you make a difference, right?
Yeah,
there's a street that loops back around to the same path, or there's a new path, right?
Yeah. And you can either stay on the hamster wheel, definition of insanity, keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting something different to happen. And that was the talk I kept having with myself. Like, this is the definition of insanity. This is craziness. I keep doing the same thing over and over again, and I expect something different is going to happen, and it ain't going to happen until I do something different. And
Hi, Nikki.
I don't know about Ryan, but I thought that I ate a relatively healthy diet. I did not think that I ate, not one time in my life, not one time ever in my life have I ever sat with a carton of ice cream. Not one time. I have never eaten a package of cookies. Not one time, not ever. I've never eaten a bag of potato chips. I have never done any of those things. None of it. I have lived in scarcity with food my entire life. Since I was about
Eat all the
7.
wheat thins.
I would scarcity. I'd go in, grab like, okay, well, I can't have any more. Like, okay, just one more handful, and that's it. And this whole reasoning with myself. But never did I eat a whole box of wheat thins. Never.
There's nobody more justified than somebody that's committed to their numbing.
Yeah.
If you can hear that, like they will come up with every reason why it's okay to numb out.
They fight for their limitations. It's like how often do we fight for our own limitations? And yes, wheat thins, I'm so sorry, are really bad for you. This is what it happens when you eat wheat thins.
This video is sponsored by Wheat Thins and bacon.
Bacon. We can get a bacon as a sponsor. Sorry, Wheat Thins.
And
we
cheese.
Probably hurt your business.
And cheese.
And cheese.
We love who you
Nicole,
are.
did you have some thoughts that came up as you were?
I was thinking with my own journey. I put on a lot of weight to protect myself after something really traumatic happened to me, and then it didn't keep men away from me like I thought it was going to, right? But it's like I was just numbing out, and then I was like, I got pregnant. So it's like, oh, my plan did not work, right? So just listening and hearing people look at me and they don't know that I have struggled with an eating disorder, but I also have been overweight. So I just was thinking of my own journey, I guess. And the fat suit that I put on is like the layers of protection, like, oh, no guys are going to talk to me or look at me or whatever. And it had nothing to do with my body. And that's why I love that when Gam Gam talks about loving your body the way that it is, because I didn't think I was lovable. In anorexia, I didn't think I was lovable at that size either. It doesn't have anything to do with being overweight or underweight.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's not when you arrive. It's not I'll love myself when. It's I love myself now.
Do you guys want to hear a poem I wrote that ties into this?
I'm going to apologize to Wheat Thins, but I'm going to give them an idea because one of our people had an idea.
Yeah, do it.
Bacon flavored Wheat Thins.
Do they have that? No, it's
I think so.
Does Cheez-Its do that with their like?
But
what are those?
See, we made up for it. There you go, Wheat Thins.
All right, so I was in conversation today, and this totally ties in. But I wrote this poem today, and I shared it. But I want to read it, if that's okay.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Alex says,
stealing the
yes.
time. So a woman walked the same old path she traveled many times before. The road was flat, there was nothing there, and the journey was quite a bore. But then one day a little mound emerged where she used to walk, but she quickly went around it. She didn't have time to gawk. Next time she passed the same old path, the mound in a moment had grown, and instead of walking around it, she began to complain and moan. She continued on her path, but her mind stuck on this eyesore, and when she looked at this frustration, this hill grew more and more. Her mind was spun in anger, for where her pathway had been was now an enormous mountain. Her patience was wearing thin. She went to one side and pushed it, but the mountain would not move. She went to the other side and pulled it, but her footsteps turned into a groove. Each day she would fight this obstacle. She hated it more and more. She wanted it gone forever. That mountain became her chore. She dug, she threw, she tore and shrilled, and each time the mountain got bigger. Every time she fought and resisted it, she'd tire and lose her vigor. She fell to the ground exhausted. She cried until tears were dry. She thought about how this could happen and spun herself up in the why. And in her tired exhaustion, she fell down and lost her sense. She looked up at the mountain and for once saw imminence. She wept at her frustration over something so beautiful. Her eyes took on a different view, and for once her heart was full. She loved the mountain. It became her friend. She would visit it day by day, She expressed the deepest gratitude that this mountain blocked her way. So it is with life obstacles. At first, they seem too much, but if you'll see their magnificence and let go of your clutch, they'll teach you powerful lessons and put you back in touch with those deepest parts within you, like love and peace and such.
He created that like 7
What?
seconds on his lunch break.
Excuse me? That was freaking beautiful. And I got to tell you, I needed that.
Huh.
Thank you. I needed that because I got a mountain that I am trying to climb right now and it ain't fun.
But sometimes the
That was
mountain is who we need to be, immovable, right? Sometimes we're the person pushing and trying to move it out of the way, but sometimes we need to just be us and let other people push and do what they do, but we're immovable, in a good way. And so that's kind of the hidden metaphor in all of it. But
that was, I literally can't believe that you just whipped that up today. Like what?
I had
Wow.
to download.
Oh, gosh. For
Nick,
me,
now let me tell you a secret about Nick.
spiritual thing.
Okay.
Mother
Listen.
Earth, mountain. Oh, love it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But let me tell you a secret about Nick. Everyone want to hear some secret about Nick. Nick has content like he forgot about. He's got books and poems that he wrote in like 3rd grade that all of a sudden be like, yeah, did I tell you about that poem I wrote? 3rd grade. And he rips out like this, like something like that. It's amazing. You get ready. Nick Smith has some stuff coming your way, Giants.
Seriously.
Episode, the tell-all, the Nicholas P. Smith tell-all with Ryan.
I've got books sitting there. One day we'll have a reading of some of the other books that are written. They're already written.
Damn, Nick.
But
Let's get those suckers published.
I love that the idea of acceptance, right? That we sometimes resist that mountain too, right? And we don't want it to be there, but it's the very thing that could change our life. As soon as we surrender, like in the poem, she had to surrender. And when we surrender, like you guys did, that surrendering opens the door to acceptance and beauty and growth, right?
And opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that's like what I heard in that when I'm looking at the mountain that's in front of me right now.
Mhm.
I had some pretty traumatic things happen this last week. And when I look at the mountain that is in front of me, I have at times allowed myself to spin and like be so fixated on exactly, your poem. Like I'm so fixated on the problem that I am not allowing the solution. I'm not allowing. It's like I'm so focused over here on the fat, the money, the whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I'm so focused on it that I'm just creating more of it. Where if I can change my mindset, like your poem, and look at it differently, I can have a different experience with it. I can have a completely different experience with it. It's like I could see this really crappy situation that I'm in right now as an opportunity. I could, or I can go cry. I've done that.
I want to say too that like for those of you, like this show is the return to wellness, right? If this could be for food, this could be for mindset, this could be for whatever brings you back into alignment. And so I want to say, just give yourself some grace. If you've fallen off the wagon of sorts, and you didn't know where to be or who you were, you are the mountain. You are the giant. It's in you. You are the red marble. You have everything that inside of you already to be that. Go back and be that. We believe in you. You can do it. And if you need some help, we're here to support. We'll love you. We'll encourage you, and we'll see you until you can see you.
I love that. We'll see you until you can see you, because it is so different, isn't it? What we see in ourselves and what other people see in us. It's very different. We're so unkind sometimes to ourselves.
See, we can pull a show together. We can do this.
Wasn't that bad?
Wasn't that bad?
See,
What the hell
guys?
is that?
I know whenever Gam Gam's on, it's going to be the best show we've ever done. So
At least it's going to be fun.
it's going to be the best show ever with Gam
Yes.
Ever.
Gam.
Any other final thoughts, guys, before we wrap up?
Just, stop with the stinking thinking. And just like you said, have some grace. Like Ryan said, it's like we have to be so kind and loving with ourselves, because the way that we feel about ourselves is the most important relationship that we have. And it's like, I cannot, it's like my husband, I have so much gratitude for the fact that my husband never one time did my husband ever make a comment about the weight I had gained. Because when we got married, I was this size. And not one time he didn't complain. He didn't tell me that I looked terrible. He loved me the same. And he loved me the same, but I couldn't even accept it. And he would say, I don't know why you're beating yourself up, because I still think you're beautiful. I mean, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Like, and I'd be like, you're a freaking liar, because you can't receive what you don't believe. If you don't believe that you are worthy of that compliment, of that love, of whatever it is, if you don't love yourself, you cannot receive it from anyone else. You can't. And so love yourself first and foremost. The rest of it will work out. It shows up everywhere when you love yourself. It shows up in all your relationships, because you can actually receive. You could receive the love.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
It was delicious.
It was delicious.
Aren't there things that are said that are they're just delicious? I don't know what other word for it.
Word.
Word.
Yeah.
That was totally word. Rad.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, love you guys. Nicole, any final thoughts from you?
You guys are worth it and you deserve it. Return to wellness. You can start whenever you want, and you don't have to make a big step. You only need to make the decision and have the vision, and you're worth it and you deserve it.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Ryan, any other thoughts? Any other magic?
That's just it. Like this was magic that was created, and I love the distinctions. I love the poem. I love the comments, and go make it a giant day.
Yeah, beautiful. We love you, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.
Love you too.
Guys.
Love you guys.
I don't know who has the end button.